I learned a long time ago that beyond just hiring somebody who's competent, there are 6 other key elements that we need to consider in terms of an individual going out and getting a job with an employer. So obviously you want to be competent, you want to be in a position where you can measure up to the job description that the company has. You want to be able to demonstrate to the employer that you have the experience, the skills, and the knowledge and the wherewithal to deliver exactly what that employer wants in terms of competency. The best way for you to show an employer that you're very competent in a job opportunity is to explain to them, demonstrate to them by your past performance the kinds of things that you were able to do for a former employer and where indeed you excelled and where you had an opportunity even to be recognized for your accomplishments. You want to be able to describe that in great detail so there's no doubt in the mind of the interviewer that you are qualified for this position. Now, the second characteristic of someone in terms of who needs to get a job is to be very capable. And you want to be in a position where you can demonstrate again to those who are interviewing you that you have gone way beyond just the basic assignment of your job description. You want to be innovative. And now to be able to demonstrate that and prove your point to them, it would be well for you to talk about things you've done in the past, again, at a former place of employment, where you can say, I was in this position, I was thoughtful about it, and I took this opportunity to a new level. And by taking it to a new level, I actually was in a position to be promoted because of the very good works I was able to do. Another key element that you need to consider when you're seeking employment is the concept we call compatibility, in that you're going to be able to work with this company and work with the people within it in a very harmonious way where you get along. Now, it goes both ways. That company wants to feel harmony with you, but likewise you want to feel like you're accepted by them. So you need to be able to go into an environment understanding exactly how these people behave and what their lives are like, but you want to be in a position where you then can accept that and be happy with it. And you want to be able to demonstrate in this interview process that you've been able to do this in the past, where you've been able to show people that you can get along, where you're selfless, where you're kind, where you have respect, and where you do everything in your power to make sure that you're compatible with the people you're going to work with. The next element for you to consider is that of being committed and demonstrating to the employer that you're there for the long haul. Your employer is going to spend money on you in terms of training, in terms of assets, and they don't want you to be there just for a short season. They want you to come in, be loyal to them, work hard for as long as you possibly can. So they're going to take a look at your past history. They're going to look at how long you stayed at previous jobs. What you need to be able to do is demonstrate that you can be committed to staying for the long haul, and that there are certain things that you've done in the past to demonstrate that. It may be that you worked long hours, that you didn't take a vacation. It may be whatever it takes for you to demonstrate, indeed, that you will stay with this company as long as you possibly can. Character is a critical component that you need to demonstrate to this employer that you are honest, you're trustworthy, that you keep your word, you keep your promises, you're prompt, all of the things that will demonstrate to them that your personality is one of great character. Now, it's important that you've done these things in the past so you can describe to the interviewer that indeed you have been in a position where sometimes there was a compromising situation, but you've been able to work through it and show honor in terms of that situation. It's really important to an employer that you can show to them that you are going to be honest in your dealings with that particular company. Every company has a culture, and what their objective is to bring people into the business that match with their culture. Keep in mind that a culture is how we treat or behave with one another. So within the company you're interviewing, or any of the companies you seek employment in, there's going to be a culture. It's common in every organization. You want to understand what that culture is. And so again, this is a two-way street. They have a culture, you need to be able to fit into that. Now on the other hand, you might examine the way they treat one another and find that it's not acceptable to you, and that's fine, then you would not seek employment with that firm. But it's really important for you to understand what their culture is and how you would fit into that and be happy in that particular way they treat one another. The next item, of course, of serious consideration is your compensation. What are you going to get paid to perform the duties for this particular company? Now, in your mind, you have a certain view of what your value is and what that salary and benefit package might look like. On the other hand, the company's looking at this job description and saying this is a marketable price or wage for this particular situation. It's important for you to be able, again, match that up, what you believe you're worth and what the company thinks it is worth, so that you're happy with it and also the company is. It's okay to negotiate the best you can, but keep in mind that the company probably has some set limits on what they're going to pay for that particular position. We've talked today about the 7 C's of getting hired. And you might not be perfect in every one of these particular categories, but there are certain ones that are important to the employer. Obviously, you've got to be competent, you've got to get the job done. But beyond that, I'd say the next important one is probably your character. They're in a position to say, if you're honest and you work hard, that maybe the others you don't have to be 100% in. They might have a way for you to learn to be more capable. But clearly, you're in a position where some of these things are absolute non-negotiables, and you want to be able to match up to the ones that matter most to this employer. Keep in mind as you do this, go through this interview process, that you're interviewing the company just as much as they are interviewing you. So you need answers to your questions relative to the 7 C's about that organization. And maybe the best way to do that is, in effect, you interview them. And you might talk to other employees within that business to see how they respond to these 7 questions. I think it's wise in terms of coming up with neighbors and friends, associates, in terms of references, that you're best suited to find people with whom you worked with in the past. So perhaps your supervisor, there might be peers that you worked with, or you even had subordinates. It would be well that you gave the interviewer those names, because they then can actually talk about you in terms of the 7 C's of hiring and being hired. I recommend that highly versus just your friends and neighbors. Today we've talked about the 7 C's of getting hired. Remember, on the other side, the interviewer has their 7 C's and they're trying to look at you in the same light. But I feel very confident in telling you today that if you were to go in and talk with an interviewer and describe your particular beliefs and passions around these 7 C's, your performance, you're going to rise above in the pool of candidates who are looking for this work. You're going to impress them that you've thought this through beyond just your basic skills of meeting a job description. So understand what these 7 C's are, follow them, and I'll guarantee you that you'll certainly rise to the top if you'll use these as you make your interview assignment completed.